Hi, this is my solution to Paul McWhorter's Pico W lesson number 15. He wanted us to use for loops, and he also gave us a list of 9 colours that he wanted to flash. He wanted us to flash an LED on and off using those colours. Anyway, I'm using a colour dictionary that I created in lesson number 13. I will just show it to you. This is a dictionary that just has as a key the colour name and then the RGB values of that colour in the format of 0 to 255. So we have green, yellow, blue, magenta, orange, cyan, white, red and black. Those colours are in no particular order, they're just in the dictionary in the order that I thought of them. So here we go, we'll look at my program. This is my first program. I'm using picozero with the RGBLED because it's very easy, and I'm also using JSON to read the file. You can do an ordinary read with a file if you're just reading in a string or a list or an integer, but for a more complex data structure like a dictionary, you need to use JSON. And then I've just defined a variable called off, which makes it easier when I'm flashing. I flash it on with the colour and then I flash it off with off. It's easier than putting 0, 0, 0 for it. Then there's my colour dictionary and I read it in. Now, while true goes on forever until I break out of it. It's just prompting to say how many blinks would you like, and then I will be then I've got another while loop which says while blinks, which is shorthand for saying while blinks is not equal to 0. Then I'm reading through my colour dictionary and then I'm blinking it. All very simple. The only problem is I wanted to use RGB blink, this method, in picozero, and it is expecting the colour not to be in the 0 to 255 notation. It wants it to be 0 to 1, which is very annoying of it. So here in the line above, well, 3 lines above, but I've cut it up so that it will fit on the screen easier. I'm just dividing the red, the blue and the green, or whatever, by 255, which gets into the right format. Now back to this method. On times, that means you flash, you have it using colour 1 for 1 second, then using colour 2 for half a second. And so that's the colour I've got for my dictionary, and that's my second colour, which happens to be black, which works very well. Wait equals true means that it will do its flashing before it drops down to the next statement, and n equals 1 means it just does it once for each colour. And when it's done 1, it will subtract 1 from blinks, and the next line down it says if not blinks break. That means if blinks equals 0, you break out of there and you go up to there, and it will then say I want to break out of there because it's equal to 0, and it goes up and prompts you for another how many blinks would you like. The reason why I have to do it like that with a kind of manual subtraction from blinks is because there might not be, if I had 9 colours, I might be wanting to blink 5 times, or I might be wanting to blink 17 times, or a number that doesn't go in exactly, so it's kind of taking care of all the logistics. Anyway, if you look at it, I'm sure you work out what it does. I will run the program. How many blinks would you like? We'll start simple. 5. I'll put my hand behind it so you can see a bit better. That's green, orange, blue, magenta. Oh no, that was yellow before, that's orange. Right, that worked okay. Then we'll do 22 just to see whether it will go around in a cycle. That's black. You think something's gone wrong and then you realise you've got black in it. Right. Oh no, hasn't finished. Chop, chop. Chop, 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 chop. Right. Then you can just go Control C out of that. All very simple. Then I thought it would be quite good if you were prompted for how many blinks you wanted, but then you just blinked a random colour from the colours that Paul gave us. So I'm using picozero, and I found this from random import choice. More about that later. I've just read in the file, everything else is the same, but this time, as opposed to converting the colour into 0 to 1, I've made a list. So there's colour list, and I'm just appending for each colour. I'm not bothering with the colour name. I'm just appending the RGB values of each colour in the range 0 to 1, as opposed to 0 to 255. That's exactly the same. And it makes the guts of the program a lot simpler, because I'm just prompting for the number of blinks, and then I'm just going for, that's the equivalent for I in range blinks. I could have put blinks equals int, input how many blinks would you like, then for I in range blinks, but this is a kind of neater way of doing it. And if you don't actually want to use the index, you can just put an underscore there, and it indicates to people looking at your program later that you aren't actually using the index. So this, the blinking is working exactly the same, that you have your on for 1 second using the first colour, then for half a second with the second colour, which happens to be black, so it's blinking, and everything works the same, apart from this choice. Choice just takes a random value from the colour list, which is pretty cool, and it had to be a list. It doesn't work with a dictionary, it had to be a list. So here we go, we'll just run this program. How many blinks would you like? Well, I can always stop it in the middle. 44. I'll put my hand behind it. Now, these are just random colours. But I don't know if you noticed just back there that it flashed the same colour twice running, because it's random. A human being would actually not have the same colour twice, but a computer thinks it's a good idea to, right, that's black, hasn't gone wrong. Orange. Now is it going to do it again? Is it going to flash the same colour twice running? Yes, it did. Hurrah! So it just goes on, but we can't be bothered to wait for that. Control C out. There's my program.